That shake in your voice. That's all they wait for. That slight crack in your armor, that flicker of emotion, it screams, "You got to me." And when they catch it, even for a second, it feeds them. It fuels their ego, validates every lie, every whisper, every petty scheme they ran behind your back. But here's what they'll never say out loud. Silence is a weapon. Not the absence of words, but the control of them. It's the coldest form of revenge. You walk into a room, no smiles, no greetings, just eyes that have seen war and came back. Colder. You don't need to scream to be heard. You don't need fists to win. You just don't react. Because when you react, you give them something to work with. When you respond, they adjust, they manipulate, they calculate. But when you stay silent, you become a storm with no schedule. And that terrifies them. Loud people are predictable. You can track their rage, steer their tantrums, diffuse their noise. But the quiet ones, the ones who don't bark before they bite, they're the ones that shake a room without a word. A snake doesn't hiss before it strikes. It coils. It waits. And just when its prey feels safe, boom, over. That's the kind of power silence holds. That's the kind of presence that doesn't ask for respect. It commands it. So when they mock you, when they twist your name, when they laugh at your struggle, don't flinch. Don't speak. Let them drown in their own noise while you rise in silence. Because nothing eats away at a traitor like the realization that the person they betrayed didn't even blink. This world is full of people making noise just to feel important, screaming for validation, begging to be seen, acting loud because silence would force them to face themselves. The moment you try to defend yourself, you enter their game. But when you hold your tongue, when you stay calm, you become unreadable. And nothing scares manipulators more than someone they can't read, can't move, can't break. You want real power? Don't react. Don't play their game. Make your silence your answer. Let your distance speak volumes. Let your progress scream while your mouth stays shut. Because when you don't give them the satisfaction of a reaction, you kill their relevance in your world. Real healing doesn't need a stage. Real pain doesn't scream. It whispers. It evolves. And when it's done, it doesn't ask for applause. It strikes. You stitch yourself together in silence, alone, with your own hands, and when you come back, you don't come back for explanations. You come back with results. Let them wonder what happened. Let them fill in the blanks with fear. Because when you return without warning, without announcement, stronger and colder than before, that's when they feel you. That's when every room you enter shifts, not because you said something, but because you didn't. Silence isn't weakness. Weakness is reacting. Weakness is giving people access to your emotions, letting them steer your narrative. Silence is control. It's you saying, "I see everything, but I refuse to dance to your chaos." Let them create their drama while you sip your peace like it's fine wine, because anyone can yell, slam doors, throw a fit. But holding your fire when you've got every reason to burn the place down, that's power. That's strength most people can't comprehend. Silence doesn't beg. It doesn't justify. It doesn't explain. It observes. It strikes when it's time. And when they say you've changed, that you've gone cold, that you don't care anymore, let them. Let them build their stories around the silence you left behind. Let them chase ghosts of a reaction that never comes. Because when you stop explaining, when you stop responding to every petty jab, they finally understand. They no longer have access to you. And people fear what they can't access, what they can't control. You become a mystery, a question with no answer. And nothing is more terrifying than someone who stopped talking and started building. Your silence is your evolution. It's the moment you stop being a pawn and start becoming the board. Every move you make becomes intentional. Every step, strategic. You no longer entertain clowns. You become the riddle they can't solve. And when they finally realize they can't, shake you, can't reach you, can't hurt you. That's when you've won. Not with rage, not with revenge, with silence. Cold, calculated surgical silence. The kind that doesn't end the conversation. It ends the war. Because silence, it's not poetry, it's not fake wisdom, it's war strategy. It's the art of giving your enemies nothing. Because every word you say, every expression you show, they'll try to use it against you. One emotional leak and they twist it into a label. You get loud once, now you're unstable. You show love, now you're desperate. You show pain, now you're weak. So you stop leaking. You stop explaining. You become unreadable. You walk like smoke, feel like steel, and speak like thunder. But only when you choose to. And when they see that their games don't move you, that their noise doesn't shake you, that their whispers don't touch you, they panic. They start overthinking. They spiral. Because silence forces them to confront themselves. When you don't react, you don't give them an escape. You become a mirror reflecting their guilt, their fear, their insecurity. You don't need to insult them. They'll do it to themselves. You don't need to scream. They'll hear their own conscience louder than anything you could ever say. Sit still. Watch. Let them do the math. Let them wonder. Let them break themselves trying to decode a silence that was never meant to be solved. That's how you win. That's how you rise. Not by being louder, by becoming untouchable. They try to figure out what you're thinking, and that's exactly where your power detonates. In their confusion. You don't even need revenge. You just leave silence in your wake and let them drown in it. And if you're patient, if you've mastered the fire inside, they'll burn themselves alive trying to reignite the flame they once extinguished. Don't get it twisted. Silence isn't easy. It's brutal. Especially when you're betrayed. When someone spits on your loyalty, mocks your love, and lies to your face, it's hard not to scream. But you stay quiet. Why? Because the goal isn't to be heard, it's to win. It's not to prove a point. It's to make a statement they'll never forget. And the loudest statement you'll ever make, walking away without a word, no arguments, no explanations, just absence, just silence. That's when they realize they didn't just lose your attention, they lost access to your world permanently. That's hell for people who thought they had you figured out. Their laughter? It's nervous. They laugh because you don't bite the bait. You don't feed the fire. You let them choke on their own words. And when they finally realize the man they tried to break is still standing, still moving, still evolving, but without saying a damn thing, that's the knockout they never recover from. Not because it was loud, but because it was cold, calculated, unapologetic. That's the silence of someone who knows their worth, someone who no longer explains himself to people who were never worthy of the explanation. Your silence now, it isn't emptiness, it's pressure. You're becoming something. And pressure doesn't announce itself. It builds, quietly. And then one day, boom, you arrive. No warning, no parade, just presence. Heavy, unshakable. That's your revenge. Not in a rant, not in a post, not in some pointless argument. Your revenge is patience. It's self-control. It's becoming so far removed from their reach, they can only talk about you, but never to you again. Let them talk. Let them speculate. Let them lie. You're building in silence, in shadows, in mastery. That's what silence does. It separates the animals from the monsters. Anyone can bark. That's fear. That's overcompensation. But monsters don't need to bark. They watch. They wait. Then strike, so fast, so precise, no one has time to scream. That's who you are now. You've outgrown the noise, the need to explain. You've realized the ones who shout the loudest are usually the ones who've already lost. You? You sit in silence like it's a throne. You wear it like a crown. Because when you stop reacting, you stop bleeding. You stop feeding vultures who were only ever circling to see you fall. They'll call it cold. Good. Be cold. You were warm once. You were open, honest, and they used it against you. So now, you freeze the room. Your presence makes the temperature drop. Let them shiver in your silence. Real pain? It's not the kind that bruises. It's the kind that lives in your chest like a loaded gun with no safety. The betrayal that smiled in your face. The lie wrapped in affection. The moment you realized the people you'd die for were digging your grave. And still, you stayed loyal, gave chances, tried to fix what was never your mess. They mistook your kindness for blindness. But not anymore. Now you let the silence speak. The distance says what your love used to scream, because silence doesn't lie, doesn't explain, doesn't negotiate. It just cuts, deep, clean, and without fingerprints. You owe no one a reaction. Not to their lies, not to their guilt trips dressed as concern. You owe yourself peace. You owe yourself progress. And neither exists in the mud they're playing in. You think kings argue with clowns? No. They let the circus entertain itself while they build empires in silence. You think wolves bark at sheep? No. They hunt. Quietly. Precisely. When they move, they don't make noise. They make history. That's the level you're stepping into. The level where your silence becomes your most violent act.